Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, October 22, and we must ask ourselves what is really going on in the stock market here. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, and you can see that it was up 33 points today, or 0.18%, closed at 18,573, which is getting closer to that high of 18,671, which I'm looking forward to the Nasdaq taking this out here as the mega cap tech earnings reports are, on tap. The volume today, 18% above the 50-day average volume. And you can see the volume is on the uptick here. So this all looks very good for the Nasdaq, excuse me. Clear trend here. Yeah, we had a pullback, but this is still in the same, uptrending channel here. Looks very good for the Nasdaq. The other, I'm not even going to show the other indexes today. They're flat, and maybe I'll show the IWM. This is the weaker one. It's sliced below its 21. That's right. I've got to show you. Darn it. Sorry for toggling back and forth here. I do need to show you that the Nasdaq, even though it's uptrending here, it's not really overheating. It's not that hot. It's 4.2% above its 50 and 2% above its 21. So not really getting too crazy, just kind of slowly grinding higher is what we like, as long as we're in the right stocks, right? If you're in the wrong stocks, you're getting killed. And there's a lot of them that I could show you that are not doing well, but there's a lot of stocks that are. I'm going to get into this today. First of all, I've got to go with the leader, NVIDIA, which yesterday, kind of broke out of this Darvis box, if you will, and today it just kind of went flat. You couldn't get more flat than a 0.08%. There you go. This little box here, this little Darvis type box, it will attract momentum traders. My target, and I don't put targets on stocks, but typically a stock, when it breaks out, it's going to go up like 20%, 15, 20, 25%. Well, just slice it right down the middle, say 20% would be, $28 from, call it 140 there. So 165, 170. I would think this next measured move would take it to that level. Anything can happen in the market though, and you just got to take it one day at a time. But it did nothing wrong today. NVIDIA looks fantastic. I want to get into some of these semiconductor names because they're setting up nicely for a breakout. You just got to be patient with them though. This is ARM Holdings, cup with handle. Now it's pulled back here to its 10 EMA. Oh, wow, it was up today. When I looked at it, it was down. I was out most of the day training my dog. So I have a very good dog trainer, and we spent a lot of time training the dog today. But this one pulling back to its 10 and forming this bull wedge pattern. So I like that a lot. I know people get impatient. They said, I didn't go up, but it actually was up. And when I looked at it, it was down like $3 or $4. But you can see just a flat, it had a big 2-week bump, and now it's flat this week and pulling back to that moving average. So I like ARM here. I also like Broadcom. This one is kind of similar pattern here, pulling back to its 10 on, super light volume. That's what you want to see, the volume drying up as, it pulls back gently. After a big move, it pulls back gently and forms this little, bull wedge. So I like that one a lot too. AMD, I do not like this one here. This is below its 200 and just really struggling. They reported the 29th, so they're going to have a strong report and break out of these doldrums. PI is another one of these semiconductor names that have been performing well. Now this one has pulled back to its 21. Could be an opportunity here. This little bull wedge pattern. But it has broken out from that 175 level where Broadcom, has not. And ARM Holdings has not. So that's just a pullback to the 21 after a move. The other ones haven't broken out of their bases yet. That's why I like those ones a little better. And let me see. Marvell. I guess I have to show Marvell here. It's still consolidating within a base. This is going to, require super patience. I like the stock, but I mean, it came straight up here off the bottom. You could see the last 3 weeks. but it's getting extended, or it is extended from its moving average. So you can't really expect it to make big moves here. You got to expect that moving average to catch up. It's 5.4% above the 10. Okay, so that's what's going on with the semis and the Nasdaq and the IWM. And first of all, I'm going to go to the earnings reports because this market's pretty good. And it's really good, actually. And we're not having a lot of economic data, and the Fed speakers are pretty quiet. So it's a pretty good environment to just trade off your earnings, right? Well, that's if you have, good earnings and they're rewarded. This is Verizon reported this morning, sliced the 50 down to the 200. I mean, ouch, that's a big move, 5% for Verizon. And then I've got to get to these defensive stocks that have been rallied so much that, even if you have a good report, they're going to take profits here. It's closed below the 50, 0.4%. I would just say that's a pullback to the 50 with volume following its earnings report. GE, we know this one's been up a lot this year. Similar look, it's moved so much. If I just go to one of these charts, and you can see GE's up over 100%. LMT, these have had big runs. These defense names, HWM, CW, and so you can see these stocks. For defense names, FDAI is up 300%. So there's just some profit taking regardless of their earnings report. So it's kind of just like a mechanical type thing. Buy the rumor, sell the news. I wouldn't give up on these stocks at all. This is Raytheon, or excuse me, RTX. Yeah, flat on the day. Not a pretty muted response to their earnings reports. A couple other names that reported today in the retail space. Sherwin-Williams, I was really surprised with their numbers today. They really spit the bit here, and now it's sliced. It's 50. Closing range is 1% of the daily range, so they just sold off all day. If you look at a 5-minute chart, you can see that action. Just we don't want any of this. Gap lower, and then just sell, 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 sell. High volume selling into the close. You don't want any part of that. That's adios muchachos. Man, this one, Polaris. Ugh. This is what I'm talking about when we're in a pretty strong bull market. If you own stuff like this, you're not having a very much fun. So you got to select leading stocks, and this is Polaris, and snowmobiles, and I think they make pool sweeps. And anyway, Wall Street was not having it. What they were, I felt like this is 1960s all over again. I've got General Motors breaking out of a base here. This looks fantastic. This is a move not to be ignored, Dan. And the buy point's right there, about $50, and it just went right through there like poop through a goose. You can see the RS line driving through these moving averages. To me, that's a buy sign. I shouldn't say it's a buy sign. It's another indicator of strength as it drives through its pivot point. So, yeah, I like that move a lot. You can see how long this thing's been consolidating, and now all of a sudden we make this big move higher. So, I don't even know what the numbers were today. I didn't pay attention, but the stock reaction was pretty nice. I think they beat by a penny. But, the old saying was, as General Motors goes, so goes the stock market. Well, and then we've got Philip Morris, another one of these 50s and 60s stock. If you watch the what's that sitcom, Mad Men, whatever, where John Hamm, the cigarette company. Anyway, this thing broke above its downtrend line today, and RS line driving through the moving averages. To me, that's just another indicator of a buy, and this one has that buyer right there, 128. And you can see the volume here coming in. This is massive volume. So 11% move, not to be ignored, Dan. So, this is 50s and 60s all over again. So for an old boomer like me, this does my heart good. Zion, the local bank, the Southwestern bank, regional banks, I should say. Nice response to their earnings report. This one broke above its downtrend line recently. And once it broke above there on that gap, it's just gone higher and higher and higher. Pull back to the 10. Little caution on Monday. They reported this morning, and bam, nice move, 6%. So congrats to the longs there. That looks fantastic. Um, Zion, what else? Oh, stock that I vaguely follow only because it has a penchant for being, making up on volume. When I look at my up on volume screens, this thing comes up. You can see these big blue bars. So it's up on volume a lot. Right here, and then today up on volume. After its earnings report, you can see that it pulled back to its 50 recently a couple times, and then boom, nice 14% move for Mueller Industries, the metal fabricator stock. What else do we have? Oh, DGX, they reported this morning, and a nice 7% move for this one. Once again, breaking, above that downtrending line. So that looks good here with a 159.36 buy point. So it's just a tick below it. That one looks good. What was the daily closing range on this one? Was it above 80? 79. So yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Quest Diagnostics. Anyway, that's enough for the earnings. We have more tonight that I'm going to get to, and even more in the morning that I'm interested in. Um, but it's good to see stocks being rewarded for good earnings, and even those that sold off, even they beat the street and they sold off, they've been up a lot. So it's I wouldn't give up on those. It's just, buy the rumor, sell the news, and the buyers will be back. It's the ones that bomb earnings, like I'm going to get to tonight's earnings, that you really got to stay away from and can't expect them to come back right away, bounce back. This is a Gatos Silver. Mention this one just about every day because first of all, the miners are super strong. It's not one of my favorite groups, but I'm just acknowledging strength here. I did have to buy this one, just a probing position because it's just too darn strong. I would call it a mental health buy, 3.6, nearly 4% move here. We'll see how it handles the 20 there. It closed right there around the 20. It made it above 2022 and then pulled back 66% of its daily range. But you can see every day, it's been making new highs. And last Friday it closed 93% of its daily range, a nice 15% move. So, broke out of that little shelf pattern and looks fantastic. Another one that I like is a um, AU. It's a cheaper stock. I shouldn't say cheaper. What should I say here? It's less expensive than some of the miners. I mean, you can you can get them under $10, or you can pay 32. I just like this one because of the breakout above the downtrend line, what, Thursday, Friday, and now followed through Monday, Tuesday, and it's just forming this base here. So you guys know me well enough that I like bases, and I like buying stocks coming out of bases. So, or trading tight within a base. It's got to be near a base. It can't be like totally crazily extended. Those scare me. I've been burned too much by those. This one is 8.2% above its 10. So it's come straight up from the lows, 25, 23, and now it's approaching that, pivot area. And I would expect it to, at some point here, kind of stall and pull back to its 10 and give people a chance, form a little handle, a bull wedge like we've been seeing in a lot of stocks. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on this one. The silver stock, PSLV, the exchange traded fund. I mean, if this is one you could play if you don't want to, own an individual stock. You can see the double bottom pattern, the pullback that acts as a handle there. This right here from 11 down to 10, 15, pull back to the 50, and then bang, man, look at the volume in this baby. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm being seduced by these mining stocks. GLD is the exchange traded fund, corresponding to the price of gold bullion. Okay. GLD. Okay. So whatever, broke out, moving higher. I'm just showing you because it's strength. I'm not buying this. I believe if you look at the monthly, you'll see like, yeah, just a massive cup with handle pattern on this one. If you just go straight across here, and the breakout is a monthly chart here. So yeah, broke out a couple months ago and just keeps driving higher. How high will it go? I don't know, but it looks great on that monthly. Okay, GLD. Oh, some of the well, I guess I'll go to Ego. Just breaking out of the base here. It undercut the 50 now, rallied back through. It's got that 18 38 buy points. So that looks pretty darn good in a, not too crazily extended from its 10. I'm just going to take a guess here and say about 3.5%. Yeah, 3.4. So that's not crazy, not like 10%. SCCO, I like the pattern in this one because it's, came straight up from the bottom, 93 to 121. And I talk about this often is that when they do that, there's going to be profit takers. So they sell off and they pull back to moving averages. And that's what this one has done. That magenta line's at 21. I would expect a bounce there above the 121 fairly soon. So that could be showing up on our ready list. And which one is this? PAAS. Yeah, nice breakout here. Did I show Freeport McMoran? I'm losing my mind here. Pretty similar to SCCO. They reported today, and I didn't have that in my earlier earnings report because I wanted to show it here. And not a bad move. This bull wedge pattern back to the 21. I expect a bounce. I mean, I don't think that close was anything to write home to grandma about. 36% of the daily range. So maybe the market was kind of weak today, so maybe it tamped it down. Market's very cautious ahead of all the earnings data that we're going to get here. All right, now I told you yesterday, I talked to trader friends, and they're very adamant that the boomers are spending all their 401k money and traveling all over the world, and the cruise lines and the airlines and hotels are going to benefit from it. We'll see. That's their story anyway. I'm not going to argue with them. That's certainly plausible. This one broke out, made a high, then pulled back, formed this bull wedge. This is Norwegian Cruise Line, very strong stock here. CCL, another, Carnival, similar profile here, pull back to the 10. It was up 1% today. RCL, Royal Caribbean, same profile. And then CUK, this is an ADR Carnival. And yeah, it's European, Australia, Asia, and same profile. These all look the same, except for VIC. This one popped today because it has earnings. I thought it was tomorrow morning. Maybe I'm wrong. This says the 27th. I think it's the 23rd, though. We'll find out. I think it's tomorrow morning. Anyway, maybe it is the 27th, but nice pop today off the 10. I mean, that's what you want to see when your stock pulls back to the moving average. You want to see it supported and driving higher. And importantly, closing near the daily highs, right? It closed at 96% of the daily range. So if we take a look here, yeah, just buyers all day. And look at this closing here. My goodness. This looks, I don't know. I bet before I say anything, I'll just say that there's a lot of buying into the close there. Okay, so that's usually a good sign. The high volume close for Viking. All right, so showed you a couple of groups doing well. I've got to go to some biotech stocks. These are, outhouse or penthouse stocks. This is iRhythm. Once again, this thing has been a huge downtrend. Popped today on news, 21%. This is why people like the biotech because they really move on news. But this thing has been in a complete downtrend. IGMS also moving on news today. This one pulled back to its 21 and popped more than 11%. It looks like it closed in the lower half of the daily range there, though. 38%. Another one is BLTE. This is a thinly traded stock, very thin, 31 shares, but just acknowledging the strength and the new highs, and up 4% today. And then COGT, this is a little more volume here, nearly 1 million a day, but only a $12 stock. And I just point this out. You're showing a lot of strength here, trading tight within the base. Now it gets up to that 12, 14 area. And let's see what it does. Let's see if it just blows right through there, or if it pulls back, forms a little handle, and allows the 10 to catch up, or the 21 here. And we'll just have to wait and see, or the 50 maybe. That's Cogent Biosciences. Anyway, that's it for the biotech today. I'm going to move on because I have a lot of stuff to get to. One is retail. I showed you GM, very nice. I showed you, that's GM. And then PM, those two, those are retail stocks, tobacco and auto. But Carvana, this one is really on a tear here. Straight up to the bottom, and what did it do? It pulled back, right? I mean, this is textbook action here. Straight up from the bottom, and then you got profit taking. So it pulls back in super light volume, right? And now it runs up again and then forms this little shelf pattern here. This is textbook beauty and lets the 10 catch up. Now bounces off the 10, 3% today. I want to take a look at today's action. Yeah, look at that. Straight up, man. That's a beautiful move. Close near the highs of the session. That's another thing I want to see with Carvana. Think it might have trouble with the 200 number, but we'll have to wait and see. Close at 91% of the daily range. So nice action in Carvana. Maple Bear made a new high. Just pointing this out. It's a little extended, but once again, that wedge pattern then bouncing, and that's pretty common here in this bull market here. Sprouts Farmers Market, the food stock. I mean, this is Kelly Slater stock, just surfing, baby, hanging 10. You just hold on to that, baby, and just keep riding that trend until it bends at the end. And then Walmart, I've talked about this one quite a bit recently, how it's forming this shelf pattern, allowing the moving averages to catch up, and now starting to pop, to new highs today above that old 81.60. So Walmart's a couple of these that I mentioned today are Dow Jones components that could drive the index higher or lower. But the index was, nothing burger today. That's why I didn't show it. All right, I got to move into the energy stocks because I mentioned yesterday, I believe that they're starting to trade a little different. They're all trading the same. They're all moving higher. Buy, 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 buy. This one went from 72 to 143, then pulled back to the 21. Pretty much classic action, and then bounce. But now it's forming this wedge pattern, which looks okay. I guess you could even go back here and just say, it's kind of pinching in here on this flag. But one thing I don't like about VST here is I think you got to be careful. It undercut the lows from last week, and that's not something that I think is ideal. It's not the end of the world as it flags here, but the low last week was 125.37, and this low today was 124.70. So it undercut it by a little bit, and the prior week's low was 114. So it's got a ways to go. If it starts undercutting that, then it's you got big trouble there. But just one day at a time here. It hasn't even come back to its 21. You got to expect some profit taking, like I said, when it goes from 72 to 143. And this one might just set up in the base here for a while. It might pull back to its 21 and bounce higher. It just might slice its 21 and come back to its 50. You don't know. So this one's kind of this one's pretty iffy for me right now. I don't like undercutting the weekly lows. CEG, yeah, this one's flagging much like VST. The difference is this one did not undercut last week's low of 262.34. This week's low is 265.85. So there's a big difference there. Just technically speaking, I would say that this one's a little stronger. Same kind of profile though, where it's just after a big move, 174 to 288, it's just kind of flagging here. Found support at the 21, just like VST. That's a similar profile. POWL, POWL. Now finally, this one's coming back to its 10. My goodness, it has been riding that 10 though, pretty consistently. So I would expect, my expectations are that it gets support there at the 10 again. Now, there can always be an expectation breaker and it pulls back to its 21 or even its 50. So you got to be careful there. That's a big move today. This is a pretty wild stock, but you just have to say this is that bull wedge pattern that we've seen a lot lately that have been supported at moving average and bounce. So that would be my expectation here. NNE, these things are too wild for me, way too hot. Inside day today, I think they had a secondary offering down 14%, but this one's been a beast. It's been a meast, a monster and a beast, a meast. Last week it was up 13%, a couple weeks ago, 29%. This week it's only up 15.5% in 2 days. So, just an inside day today. Another one, OKLO. This one's yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure NNE had the secondary OKLO. This is the SPAC from Sam Altman. It's been doing super well, as you can see if I go to the weekly chart. This big pole pattern here was up 99% in a week. So, it definitely qualifies for like an 8-week hold rule, but I don't really play those games because if it wants to come down and slice moving averages, I don't want to be holding it just because of some rule. And then SMR. So the nuclear stocks have gone nuclear and now they're starting to calm down. This is SMR, made a new high last Friday, and then closed near the lows or in the bottom third of the daily range there on Friday. Came in on Monday, could not overtake that high from Friday of 2035. Just had an inside day and today pulled back near its 10 EMA. So still has some work to do here. But those are super strong stocks. Let me see. Oh, I've got to go to the software names. SAP reported this morning. Had a good response, I thought. As I look here now, it's got 19% of its daily range. Still up $1.25. Not bad. Good report from SAP. Not enough to drive the software names higher. This is App 11. It got upgraded on Monday. Made a big move of $13 or 9%. Today upgraded again. Made a new high of 163.08, then pulled back. It's getting a little too hot, a little too extended from that 10. It closed at 7.5% above the 10. So that one looks good. And then GoDaddy, another one that I have on my ready list that I like a lot. Breaking above the downtrend line and now trading tight with innovation and pulling back to moving average. I just love this. I love this action in this stock. So they reported day before Halloween. Anyway, and one thing I have to mention, just an FYI, if you own these home builder stocks, they've been getting hit as the 10 year has been rising just too fast. Since the FOMC, lowered interest rates 50 basis points, these things have, the 10 year has gone up and up and up, and it's starting to have an effect. These stocks are rate sensitive. Pulte slicing, it's 50 today. DHI slicing is 50. Lennar did the same thing, and then Builder. People were asking me about Builder. I had it on my ready list recently, but slicing the 50, taking out the lows. That's why I said you got to pay attention to the weekly charts. Taking out the lows from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. 5 weeks of lows that were taken out today. So that's adios muchachos for me. That's too much work to make up now. It's below its 50. So the old saying, if you lose 50%, you need 100% gain just to get back to even. And that's why we can't afford large losses with our stocks. So I shouldn't say that. Don't fight the market. Don't fight the stock. Even if you have total conviction in a stock, if it's selling off, then you just don't argue with it. It's selling off for a reason. NVO is a stock that I own in my retirement account. I've owned it for a long time. This is not acting well. I mean, if I was a swing trader, I'd have to sell this thing when it's sliced. It's 50 back here. It has no strength. It's got, it's highly valued. I mean, it's got a 500 billion market cap with 40 billion in sales. So expensive stock, but it's just selling off for one reason or another. I don't know. Maybe the growth isn't going to be there. Maybe the battles with Washington, D.C. are catching up with them. I don't know. Just when it slices its 50, just get out and you can always buy it back. This is on July 17th. It sliced its 50. The low is 134 today. The low is 114. So save yourself the anguish and the anxiety and the dollars. And when they slice their 50, just cut them loose. Like I say, if this thing, slice its 50 and then, went right back through that moving average and went higher, you can always buy it back, but it didn't. So you just leave it alone and don't fight the tape. Don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the trade. Don't argue with the market. Darn it. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing. Tonight we had earnings. I love earnings season because we get these new data points. We get to see who's taking market share. Personally, I think Bros is taking market share from Starbucks. They reported today and they spit the bit again. They've got a ton of problems, not fixed overnight. They hired the CEO from Chipotle, Brian Nickel. I'm sure he's a good CEO. It's just going to take a long time to turn this battleship around. And it's only down 3% after hours, not bad, but not a great report. Texas Instruments, this is not a semiconductor stock that will, like carry NVIDIA or AMD. They don't have an AI component, but it's up 2.5% after hours. I didn't even look at the report, but that's a nice response for Texas Instruments in phase. I don't even know why I want to show this to you. And talking about buying and owning stocks that are winners in the stock market, this is not it. All right, it's definitely in a downtrend. They reported tonight down another, what is that, 9%? Jeez. So I could say a lot about in phase, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say it's in a downtrend. You just got to stay away. It sliced its 50 a long time ago. Sliced its 200, complete downtrend. All of the moving averages is trending lower. So sorry if you own in phase, but you should sell it. Sorry. STX, they reported tonight. This thing's nice, beautiful cup with handle here. 110.93 buy point. It closed it at 112. Looks like it's about 109, 110 after hours. So this might be an opportunity tomorrow. As you can see, it pulled back to its 21, then bounced. Maybe tomorrow it'll come back down to that level once again. Yesterday, that 21 was trading at 109.03. Today it was 109.36, so it's going up 30 cents. Tomorrow, I don't know, 109.66, something there, 109.70. If it comes down there, maybe it'll find support. Maybe it'll squat there for a day or two and then bounce. But I've got to look at the earnings data to see exactly what's going on with this stock. Anyway, tomorrow morning have some important earnings reports. This is VRT. I think they're going to have a good report. I don't know if it's going to, how it's going to respond. Nobody does. But you can see the cup with handle pattern. It's not that far extended from that buy point. Pull back to the 10. I don't know, just gut feeling. I think it's going to bounce. Did I buy any calls? No. Did I sell any puts? No. I do own the stock. I trimmed because I don't want to let, a good profit turn into less of a profit or even a loss. So just protecting my assets there. AT&T, shoot, they report tomorrow, pull back to the 50, huh? That was with the Verizon report. So they kind of trade in tandem there. All right, Boeing. I mean, once again, we're in a total uptrend in the stock market. The Dow Jones has been the strongest index, and this one is just wallowing, and it should because they've had a lot of problems. But this is what I mean by stock pickers market. You still got to own the best merchandise, the leaders, and this is not it. Coca-Cola, this is a Warren Buffett stock, reports in the morning, and that looks fine. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.